Hi. It's all down to Bubbles and Bishop, you know. The common view of a mediator and a conflict management coach is someone who stops people arguing or teaches someone to control their temper. I do that. However, I spend just as much time starting awkward conversations and helping people speak up effectively. You may wonder how I connected baths with starting awkward conversations. It all started the other day when I was feeling tired and aching, and I knew a lovely hot soak was just what I needed. I was also thinking about a talk I was doing for a networking event called Bubbles and Bishop. So this is the result. Just imagine you, like me, had had a really tense day. Your muscles are aching and you're exhausted. You know, a nice, lovely long soak with the stuff you won at Bubbles and Bishop or that you got for Christmas would make you feel better. But you'd have to trail upstairs, run the bath, undressed, and you just can't be bothered. And you might have to clean out the bath, and maybe there isn't any hot water, and it takes too long, and it won't work. Or maybe you have a cleaning fairy. Seriously, they do exist. I met one the other day. So anyways, back to the story. So you ignore your aching muscles and stress, and it gets worse. Or you may hit the wine, which helps for a bit, but then you end up with a hangover. So how is starting awkward conversations like deciding to take a bath? In both cases, we know we need to do something to ease the pain, and once it's sorted, we'll benefit. But it's the hassle in between and the chances that things go wrong that puts us off starting. So we ignore it or mutter about our problems till they do get better, or we explode, or we get ill. So we all put up with pain and discomfort and a real chance of things getting worse when we could do something about it. Unlike running a bath, few of us are taught how to start an awkward conversation and make it turn out well. However, it is a skill and you can learn it. People who do this are far more successful in life, love, and work than those who don't. We'll never be perfect. We are human after all. However, learning this skill will make life easier and pleasanter. Looking at the bath situation highlights some important lessons for taking the plunge and having that difficult discussion. First, how do you decide whether to take that plunge or not? First of all, don't deny or ignore the situation. I recognize my present pain and I acknowledge that I could do something about it and take a bath. Too often, we don't admit our suffering. We bury our heads in the sand. And we don't realize that we can actually do something about it. Ask yourself, what pain am I putting up with? What do I need to do to get rid of it? Focus on the end result and the positives. As I thought of a nice warm bath, the tension seeping away, and the aches and pains vanishing, I thought, yeah, I do want to bath. Ask yourself, what would it be like if this conversation went well? How would it feel? How would I celebrate? Be realistic about the relative benefits and risks. I thought, was having to clean the bath before I started such a big problem compared with my pain? How high was the chance of no hot water? Was getting rid of the pain worth it? We tend to overestimate the risks and hassle and underestimate our chances of success. Try and be more objective. What's the worst that could happen? How would you deal with it? Fourth, what's your alternative? There were alternatives to the bath, but they weren't as appealing, or they were unrealistic, or I just thought, no, more hassle. Once you've weighed up what you want and where you are, you'll be calm enough to think of alternatives. So having worked out the pain I was in and the benefits of having a bath, I was more realistic about the risks. There would be hot water, but I'd almost certainly have to scrub the bath before I ran it. That minor hassle compared to the major benefit made the decision really easy. You may find that the pain is not that great, or there's another solution, but it gives you a good idea whether you need to do what you thought you had to do. Next, it's getting ready for the bath. Just as I had to find the towel, scrub the bath, undress, and run the bath, you need to prepare for that awkward conversation. Be clear about what you need. Being clear about what is important and what you need before you start is crucial. Have you got all the facts? Is there any other interpretation of the situation? Secondly, do what you can to make it work before you take the plunge. Is there anything you need to do to make it easier to have this conversation? Just as I should have kept the bath clean, so I had to clean it out before I could start, maybe there's something you need to do to make the situation less fraught. Show you care. When we take off our clothes, we feel vulnerable because we're showing ourselves. We often feel this way when having to admit fault or showing that we care. To learn more about the power of vulnerability, watch Brené Brown on TED. Then finally, you've got to take action. Just as I had to turn the taps on, you have to reach out to start that conversation. Finally, taking the plunge. Test the water. No one sensible leaps into a bath without testing the water. So ask permission before you start. Here's a suggestion of how to start, but your own words are really the best. I value our relationship. There's something that's bothering me, and I'd like your help in sorting it out. When would be a good time? Then finally, take the plunge and keep it safe. Sometimes we think the bath is fine, and when we get in, realize it's actually too hot. So we either need to add some cold or get out. So too in difficult conversations, we sometimes need to take actions to make sure everyone feels safe and calm enough to talk about the situation in a way that resolves things. Or sometimes we have to step back and ask for some help from a mediator or a third party. So there's a lot more to starting awkward conversations than deciding to take a bath. Still, I hope this has encouraged you to work on a very important skill. If you'd like to learn more about speaking up in an effective and kind way, every fortnight I send out a short email with links to interesting articles, helpful quotes, and useful books. I'm always happy to have a confidential chat with you about your own situation. Just email me at help@nancyradford.com. Thanks.